No, I repeat myself a million times. But please, guys, get this right. Is this thing not irritating you? Can you see well? I think it works very well. Okay, so now, please start knowing. If I say profitability or operating efficiency, you know it's the on ratios, right? Everything is good if it increases, except expenses. Except expenses, right? Liquidity, it's those 6 ratios, right? You go on into your boxes. So we have done the share price and stock exchange yesterday. I said to you, the moment they talk share price, the moment they mention either repurchase, issue, market price, NAV, immediately you know you're going to compare them. So you go look at the info they give you. You go look, did it increase or decrease? But more important, what is it in relation to the other one, right? So if I go look at the information here, you can see they give you the market price and they give you the NAV. They didn't give you the issue price or the repurchase price. If they gave that, you would compare it to that also, okay? Because each one gives you different information. So the market price will always tell you what are people willing to pay, okay? So this will tell me if the share is popular. So this is a very important indicator, your JSE price, right? The issue price or the repurchase price is an internal thing. Meaning, what I mean by that is, this is what I am, ask me as the company, this is what we're going to ask people to get for it, because this is how much capital I want to raise through issuing the shares. But I'm going to use the market price and the NAV as a guide as to what I'm going to ask. The repurchase price is the same thing. We want to buy back from a shareholder, but we're going to use this as a guide. We're going to give him less than market price and NAV or a little bit more. But issue price, I want to go closer to the market price, but a little bit lower than the market price. Why? So that people would rather buy our shares than our shares that already belongs to other shareholders. Okay. So if I look at this now, you can see with Nasha, the market price is higher than the asset value. Remember, what is the net asset value? It's the intrinsic value of the share. In other words, they literally take the shareholders' equity, which is the capital and the retained income, and they divide it by the share. So that's what the share is worth. That's what the value of the share is. But people, so the value of the share here is 10.28 rand, but people are willing to pay 13 rand for it. Why? Because this is a popular share. Why would a share be popular? Because this company is doing well. This is a growing company. And people are investing in this company because they think in a year or two, or maybe a week, or maybe whatever, the price of the share is growing. So they're going to sell their shares at a profit. Okay. But if I look at Dodo, can you see the asset value is more than the market price? People don't want this thing. So this could be anything. It could be that this company is currently in a scandal, involved in a scandal. It could be that they promised dividends and never paid it out, so now there's like a rumor going around. It could be that their product is no longer really valid, so people don't buy it, so the company's profit isn't growing, so now people don't want to invest in it. I mean, just think of a company that sells DVD players. It's no longer a company that will make any profit, because who still buys DVD players? Nobody. Everybody downloads. So can you see, this company didn't do something wrong, for instance, but their product is no longer a product that people are interested in. So the company is scaling down. And maybe they are trying to sell a new product, or they're going through that phase. But while they're going through that phase, people don't want to invest with them because they're not making the returns they want. Okay, so, but that is all the things. You don't even have to know that. That's the secret with question 3. Yes, you can go very deep into it and it can be extremely interesting, or you can keep it very focused. You read the question, and the guy who set up this paper, we went for training with him, and his words to us was, make sure that your learners look at the bolded heading, because that already tells you which ratio they must quote. Ne? So if I look at profitability, immediately my focus is going to go to the on ratios. If it's liquidity, immediately it's going to go to that 6 ratios. Dividends payout rate, immediately it's going to go to that 2 ratios, DPS, EPS, net profit after tax, over, over what is it again? I always forget, is it over shares? I think it's over shares. Where is it? No, it's dividends over net income after tax. So we want to see the percentage, because actually, you know how beautiful this is. Net income after tax is your earnings per share. Did you know that? Net profit after tax is your earnings. Because if I do the T account for appropriation, I have my profit and loss, then I have my tax, net profit after tax. What is left? Total dividends and retained income. There, what is total dividends and retained income? It's your EPS. So now they ask you, so now if I look at this, now I can see how much of my earnings goes to dividends and how much are we retaining. So that is why they're using net profit after tax. You see? Dividends, it's just a different perspective. I'm talking a lot. I hope you learned something. Let's quickly go and see how they quoted that one. Why are we calculating stuff? Is this memo 2? Yeah. Wrong memo. Yeah. Here we see. Can you see? If you compared the market price with the NAV, you get 2 ticks. 2 ticks. And even if you just compared the one year to the other year of the market price, you still get 2 out of 4. I just want you to see this. Let's quickly look here. Question 1. Ne? The 2 ratios. And if you can, don't quote markup, because the markup, you will always compare the real one with the ratio one, and you will look at the difference, and that difference would usually be discount. Okay, so that's what you do with the markup percentage. But so you usually quote, when they ask you if our operating efficiency was well, then you usually quote the other ones. Okay, liquidity, look at that. There we go. They asked me a financial indicator. I explained that yesterday. So for stock turnover rate, you could have had 2 marks already. Okay? And the trading stop deficit was given. Here, this one. Oh, I wanted to say this to you. I forgot about this one. If I look at 3.2, the question for 3.2, I forgot that yesterday. They say here to me, identify the company that holds more stock. Okay? So now in your head you think, oh, it's the stock holding, but they don't give you the stock holding or the stock on hand. They didn't give you that ratios. What did they give you? They gave you the asset test and the current ratio. And remember what I explained to you. I explained this to you many times. The current ratio is inventory, receivables, cash to current liabilities. The asset test is receivables and cash to current liabilities. So in other words, the difference is the inventory. So if my current ratio is 7:1 and my asset test is 6:1, ne? Can you see that that 7 is my inventory, receivables and cash? The 6 is only the receivables and cash, which means the inventory is 1:1. So can you see that this business doesn't hold stock? Their stock is selling, because most of that current assets is receivables and cash, the biggest part. But if the asset test was here, let's say 2:1, then it means the stock was 5:1. Now I can see, oh my goodness, the biggest part of that is the stock. And why do I buy stock? To sell it, to get money. And if I still have the stock, then it means it didn't sell. And that is when I say cash is tied up in stock. Now, very important, you have to give it in a ratio. When I give you a ratio, you can't say, oh, the stock is 5. Okay? You can't just use the one side of the ratio. You have to say 5:1 because it's a ratio. Okay? So now what did they do? They gave me Dodo, current and asset test, ne? And the stock is 1.5:1. Nasha, the stock is 0.8:1. So now, which company holds more stock? Dodo. You can see it. Ne? 1.5 is bigger than 0.8. So, what does it mean? Whose cash is tied up in stock? Dodo. Does it make sense to you? Is everybody with me? Please don't die on me. Okay? Okay. Let's go on. So, we are going to the second part of this question. I'm running around like crazy. Ne? I'm so sorry, but you are used to me. Provide one factor for each company that could have influenced changes in their share price. Okay, now they are talking specifically on the stock exchange. So it's about the shareholders, the investors. Do they want to buy or do they want to sell? Okay, so what would be the one? So remember when I looked at the information, I saw that Dodo market price is lower. Ne? So it means people don't want to buy it. So the demand isn't high. Whereas with Nasha, the demand is high. So you just say there anything. Now, this is very beautiful words. But if you just say, people don't want to invest, or people don't trust the company, you'll get your 2 marks, or your 1 mark. With Nasha, there's a high demand. People want to buy. The company shares is popular. You'll get your marks. Okay. Just tell me again. You guys are shocked with how it shows, ne? Because the things I want you to see is in the middle there. Is everybody shocked? Yuck, it's like teaching the graveyard today. Okay. Huh? Are you guys okay? Not really. I'm so sorry you're not really okay. Okay. Financing. So financing is about where do I get my capital from. Now you know you got 2 sources. You have your own source and you have your borrowed source. Own would be shareholders' equity. Borrowed would be your loan. Now which ratio do you know that shows the relationship between those two? The debt equity. Right? So they say the COO wants to take out a loan. Ne? She persuades us to take out a loan. Now as soon as you see the word loan, you know we're talking debt equity and we're talking Rotki. So which one are they referring to? So they say, quote one financial indicator with figures and trends to confirm this statement. So now, what is the statement? The statement is that we took out a loan. So, let's go see. Did we take out a loan? How will we see that? If my shareholders' equity stayed constant and now suddenly the debt equity ratio is higher, then it's most because of us taking a loan. So if I look at the debt equity, which guy is this? Dodo or Nasha? Nasha. So if I look at this, can you see the debt equity ratio increased? Meaning my loans in a ratio to my shareholders' equity is now more. Most of you got that right though. Okay. Next one. So now we do majority shareholding. Calculate the total amount that Ben received from selling his shares in Dodo. So let's quickly read. How do I know? Ben holds shares in Dodo and Nasha. He sold 132,000 shares in Dodo and purchased an equal amount of shares in Nasha. So now let's quickly go look. In Dodo, he had 301,000 shares. How are we going to do that? Both companies did not repurchase any shares. So let's quickly look. But now, can you see? Now I have to think. He sold 132,000 shares. Ne? How much does a share cost? What was the issue? What was the issue price or the repurchase price? The market price. They gave us the market price. It's 720. Right. You see that? So, where is it? Next page. So, he's going to take the 132. Why do they times with 933? Because I looked at the wrong one? No. Oh, it's the beginning of the year. Thank you, Homo. Okay, beginning of the year, 933. Oh, you see, I did it the same wrong when I worked out the memo, so I wrote it for myself. Okay, calculate the additional amount apart from the amount earned from the sale of his shares that Ben had to contribute to buy the new shares. Okay, it feels like my brain isn't working because you guys are talking. My brain is very sensitive. So, calculate the additional amount apart from the amount earned. In other words, that 1231, how much did he have to pay extra? Okay. From the sale of his shares that Ben had to contribute to buy the shares in Nasha. How many shares did he buy? Do they tell me? So, do they want us to assume that it's that 200,000? The difference? Let's see. No. Where do they get that 143? I don't understand what they did. I see what I was missing. I was missing the following. I only read what he purchased. I missed this where they say an equal number of shares were bought in Nasha. So if he sold 132, it means he bought 132. So basically you're going to then take the market price of Nasha times 132,000, ne? Because that's what he needs to pay for it. And then you subtract what he got from that sale. Okay. Everybody happy? Explain two benefits. Now this one. Please read what I wrote there. Explain two benefits that Ben will lose after selling his shares. So now everybody writes, he's no longer the majority shareholder. What does that mean? They want to know the benefits he loses. not his status. Yeah, so now he is no longer the majority shareholder. That's true. So now with this question, he's testing if you know what does the majority shareholder have that other people do not have. And now you can't say there he loses his ability to vote. That's not true. Every shareholder has got the ability to vote. But what does he lose? He loses his influence. He doesn't have a big influence like he used to. Okay? And now he's got less dividends. Why? He's going to get less dividends. Why? Because he's got less shares. Okay? What they say there is he will no longer be able to influence like he did before. He will not have the power to appoint or remove boards of directors, because if you're a majority shareholder and you don't want that CEO, then you vote him out because you've got the most votes. Okay? His voting power will be restricted. It's the same thing. He's no influence over company policies because he can just vote like any other shareholder. He loses the privilege to access strategic updates. He will lose a portion dividends. Now, what I want you to do, please, I know half of you are asleep, but just wake up for this sentence. What I want you to do is I want you to learn this. Because with this, they can swing the question. If they ask you, what privilege will he get? Why does he want to be the majority shareholder? Then you will tell him. He's got more influence over decisions. He's got the power to appoint or remove directors. His voting power is no longer is not restricted. It's unrestricted. He gets access to strategic updates on strategic decisions and stuff that people make. Can you see that you can turn this? Ne, Mary? Oh God. So, next one. Ben's percentage shareholding will change. Remember what I said, what you must do in reading time is to check that whatever is written here is also written here. So that when you start working against time, you don't have to read on your question paper, you can read on your answer sheet. Okay. I'm quite sure I said that a few times. Ben's shareholding percentage will change after buying additional shares in Nasha. So now he's got more voting power. Nee? Explain 2 potential challenges or problems of being a majority shareholder. So what would be a problem? People won't like you. Nee? You're not going to win the contest for popularity because now you got more than me. You're now the boss. I wanted to be the boss. You are now the boss. So what happens now? People can be jealous and they can spread rumors about you. Let's start. What else? He can be held more accountable to the stakeholders. Who's the stakeholders? Stakeholders is the other shareholders. It's the board of directors. It's the banks. So the banks are going to come to him and say, hey, this company that you are majority shareholder in is not paying their monthly loan. What are you going to do about it? Okay? He's got more responsibility. Because now when decisions are taken, he's got the swing vote. Ne? So in other words, the company is going to do what he wants the company to do. And that's a lot of responsibility. Ne? So I don't like this CEO. Let's say I was married to the CEO, now we divorced, so now she better go. Is it necessarily the best decision for the company? So people might hold you responsible because you let her go because of your grudge. Yes.
But aren't there certain laws or not even, maybe every company something that restricts majority shareholders?
Okay, so if there is, where would you find it? Remember, the start of the year I told you about something. The memorandum of incorporation. It would be in there. the internal laws of the company, where they would say, if the majority guy votes so much, at least a percentage of the non-majority must also agree, otherwise the decision doesn't go through. It can be like that. But that would all be decided inside the MOI. He may be blamed for poor company performance. His reputation is tied to the company's public image. You remember years back there was that one CEO of something that was filmed in a, what is these clubs where the women dance naked? A strip club, and he was eating sushi off this naked girl's tummy. And then what happened is that image of that company, the share price was in the news everywhere. Okay, we may be expected to inject capital during tough times. How will he inject capital? By buying more shares. But they can say, for instance, this shareholder wants us to buy back shares. Can you please do that? Does that money go into the company? No. But does the company have to give out money for it? No, because he buys it back in his personal capacity. Am I talking nonsense? I don't know. You guys are going to have to go vet what I say, ne? This one is business study through and through. Explain 3 essential qualities of a successful director in a profitable company. He must have good. Now this one I like it if they say this, because if it's a good explanation, it's 2 times 3. But if it's an incomplete or a half-witted answer, it's 1 times 3. Okay. So if you say you must have good leadership skills, 2 marks, ne? Strategic decisions. So for me, let me just do this. Question 4 is very difficult to prepare, because it feels to me they always try and find stuff that they've never asked before. So my suggestion for question 4 is to just go and read through the basic stuff. So know who is the managers, who is the owners, but there's a difference. Know about fiduciary duties. Know about responsibilities of directors. Know the audit reports. It was a very long time ago that they asked the audit reports. So maybe they'll give us an audit report and you have to say if it's a disclaimer. Okay? So make sure you understand the audit reports. And then your deed is done. You go through all the previous papers and that's all you can do. But don't spend all your time on question 4, because chances are they're going to ask you stuff they've never asked before. Okay? But let's quickly look at this. They ask me here, choose the correct words. Okay, so let's just quickly look. The who reviews the company's financial records and internal controls to identify any accounting discrepancies. I think it would be the internal guys. Do they say external? Oh my word, let's read this again. The external auditor reviews. Oh yeah, it is definitely the external. Because what is the word discrepancies? Do you understand the word discrepancies? So the word discrepancies just means things that's not in place. Yeah. So when he goes through the books and there's no director's fees recorded, that's a discrepancy. Because why isn't there director's fees recorded? And then when he goes to ask about it, they say, no, they included it in the salary and wages. And then immediately you say, no, that's wrong. Why is it wrong? Because there needs to be transparency. The shareholders needs to know how much the directors make. Because now the salaries is 4 billion, but 3 billion of that was paid as directors' fees. But now nobody complains about it because it looks like they pay their workers well. That's a discrepancy. Okay? Companies prepare accurate financial statements in accordance with IFRS. Ne? Is that the one they wanted? IFRS? Yes. Okay. So be sure that if you go study accounting, you're going to have to learn this thing off by heart, IFRS. The good old IFRS. 2 corporate government issues evident in the King's Limited case. So then I know it's StarDiff, ne? So if I look here at StarDiff, there they say lack of transparency, ne? Inadequate board oversight, that can also be part of that. Which ones do they say? Oh, there. Lack of transparency, weak oversight. Okay? Give 2 points. Why transparency is crucial as an element of ethics. Because if we are transparent, people are able to trust us because they can see what do you prefer? Do you prefer that I tell you, oh no, everything's going to be fine because you are so good and so pretty and so awesome? Or if I say, okay, please, you did not study your formats. Go look at your formats again. Don't, see, now I'm more transparent. You struggle with time. Go work on your time. Can you see that's got more value than just trying to keep you happy and feeling good about yourself? Ne? So in other words, the same goes with a company. If a company does something totally wrong, he used child labor, and he's transparent about it. He says, we have used child labor up to this point, but with the new board of directors, we decided that this is unethical and we are changing. We are putting procedures in place to start digging our own stuff. Can you see that a shareholder will appreciate that? Doesn't make sense? Napo?